This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
What is going on? You are listening to Tags Podcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 686. I am your host, Stevie V, in studio, sitting across from Lincoln. How you doing, Lincoln?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
Very good. Thank you so much.
Good.
Happy summertime to you, Cody Maurice Doggett. How the hell you doing, Cody?
Hello, darling. I'm doing well. Happy summertime.
Happy summer. We always have to remember.
It is definitely summer.
Yes, it's hot.
It is hot.
It goes so fast. I love to always just really remember it and be in the moment of it. I mean, on this party, on this episode, we have so much to talk about, including advice to a listener who wants etiquette on bait parties he's throwing. We're also going to be talking about our gays. Our gays objectifying each other by a sex therapist. Oh my gosh, we love it when you ask for advice, and it's one of our hot topics of the evening for you. And thanks to this person that wrote in. They wanted to be anonymous, and we totally respect that. Here's what they wrote. Hey, Stevie and the crew, curious if you have any perspective or advice on this topic. It's potentially a sensitive topic. Okay, here's what they wrote. My partner and I have been hosting bait parties.
Can you define this, please?
Yeah, so baiting is like masturbation where
okay.
It's not necessarily going to lead to sex per se. There are bait worlds, which we've talked about on this show before.
Mm-hmm. So masturbation parties.
Yeah, basically.
And in this party, is it... Like, I've been to parties where it's like hosted by one bottom and no one else can get fucked, and that's like the rule. So in this party, is it a rule that you can only masturbate?
Well, he talks about this in
good.
his
Keep
thing.
going.
Yeah, so my partner and I have been hosting these bait parties in our home every few months for the last year. Basically, guys come over, we watch porn, jerk off. Sometimes oral might happen, and we shoot our loads together. We live in rural Midwest and get about 8 or 9 guys for each session, usually with some participating each time. We are inclusive of all ages and types, and we get a very diverse crowd from guys in their 20s to guys in their 70s, bears, twinks, chubby guys, otters. It draws a mix, which I personally love, he says, and I love that too. But sometimes the energy and chemistry just doesn't feel right when the guys aren't into each other. As the host, this puts me at odds. I want everyone to have a hot, memorable time and to come back again in the future. And I don't want any guests to feel undesirable or unwanted. It feels like the vibes get most awkward when there's a significant age gap, usually with the younger guys and the 60-plus crowd. Is there a delicate, sensitive way to navigate and manage this without coming across as judgmental, ageist, or rude? I hate the idea of screening, approving, and potentially deciding guests to curate the right mix, but part of me feels like that might be one solution to keep the age of guests within somewhat of a close range. I also considered themed parties like Bear Night, Daddy's Night, or 40 Plus Night to set the right tone or expectation. Or maybe I need to be at peace that sometimes the mix just won't work and some guys might bail and never come back. He's open to suggestions or advice on how tactfully to increase my odds of hosting a party with a group that has a great energy and chemistry. It's such a thing that can be, is it such a thing if it can be accomplished? And first off, I just have to commend you for throwing these parties in rural Midwest. I think that's really good to, you know, when you're not seeing it out there, there's not a Eagle like here in New York, create these parties for yourself. Now, I commend him for that, and I think that's really good. Let's just have a discussion a little bit about what he's coming across on, you know, he's very inclusive, but he's kind of seeing somewhat of a resistance at times. Anyone want to start? And I have thoughts too, but
Lincoln?
I can start if you want.
Yeah, I'm writing notes. Sorry.
Oh, you are?
wow.
I have a lot to say, so I don't want to say what
too.
you're going to say.
You know what? It's fine. I'll come up with something else.
Well, I'll say two things, and then I can come back to it. You cannot control a party.
yes.
Boom.
You cannot control a party.
I literally was. My first
Right.
note is
You
let
cannot-
let it go.
Let it
girl.
go. Oh, yay, you read my book choice. You can't control a party. And I do think theme nights are a great idea.
I was
do
going to
think
say
that's
that.
a great
Second
idea.
note. Okay, I didn't even have to write
that's
it
a
down.
great idea. My third note is, and when I first came to New York, I went to parties like this in 96. And there was one in Midtown, and there was an interview process before the party. So
My
at
God.
at 9 o'clock,
What, are we getting
they
a
would
job?
no,
A hand job?
Well, you're gonna understand when I finish. At 9, because this is about safety.
Yeah.
Because you're in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and same if you have sex in public restrooms. So at 9 o'clock, it would be interview time for new people, and you would sit in front of like 4 judges, quote unquote, and they would just ask questions like, "Are you a top or a bottom? Are you shy? If someone touches you and you don't want to be touched, how do you react? And then show us your dick."
Oh.
And then you would have a glass of wine, and the party would start like an hour later.
Oh, I kind of like that.
A cop
Did
cannot
you get that wine, Kodu? Like we're drinking.
That's right.
A cop cannot show his dick.
Ooh.
That is why you show your dick. So when you have parties like this, always make sure that there is some type of a screening process, and make sure everyone pulls out their dick. Same in a public restroom. If you go into a public restroom and you see someone hot, have them show their dick first. Because if you show your dick first and they're a cop, you're in jail. And these are not the times to be thrown in jail.
This is great.
Mic drop. I'm out.
Okay.
Good job, babe. So you hit a lot of my points. I feel like, theme nights are fantastic. You can't control what's going to happen at the party. Let it go. You're very sweet. I appreciate you. Hit me up. I'll hit you up if I'm in the Midwest so I can come to one of your parties. You know, I'll be in Kansas sometimes. But the third thing I want to say that, Lincoln, you almost got to it, but I'm glad you didn't say it. Put in your email blast or your note to the community on Craigslist, however you're disseminating the information and getting the word out about this party, put in there that all body types are included, all ages are going to be there. If you don't like that, fuck off, basically. Right. And anybody that is that you lose because of you being inclusive and you wanting to provide this type of experience where anybody can come, you're not worse off for losing them. So just make sure you continue on the line that you're on and be more upfront about the type of people that are going to be there.
Yeah, I would agree with both of you. I think that he's providing a space, a safe space. I think interviewing people would be good because inviting people to your home can be very scary, and it's a very vulnerable position you put yourself no matter where you're at. I think I love the idea that he kind of answered his own questions of the theme nights, because although he's only, I believe I read, doing these like once a month, it's worth at this point, if this is causing you a little bit of distress, to start experimenting with that. Now, I can vouch that we did these parties once a year, and they were these XXXmas parties that I throw, and I've talked about them on the show before.
I miss them. They were fun.
Know,
bring
and
it
they
back.
were,
Come on. It doesn't have to be Christmas.
I know.
You can do it anytime.
And it's funny because we
Xmas in July.
yeah, right.
July's almost over. You
I
gotta do it tomorrow, girl.
But we tweaked them.
Such a funny story.
Each party was a little tweaked, and my friend and I tweaked them based on what we had seen the last time around. And one of them was really like dark and sexy. We turned believe it or not, my kitchen turned into a red light district, and it did not look like a kitchen, and it was like the dark room. I got really creative. Another time it was all like men. Another time it was like so inclusive. We wanted everybody there. And playing with those as a host, like you are, listener, that wrote into us, can be really fun when it's your space. Now, mind you, you're not, it's not a bar space that you have to really, you can just have fun with this. Remember, you are the proprietor, you are the lead of this. You can create whatever space you want to. It's your space, but have some fun with it and maybe play around so you don't have that stress of the different things. Play around with some of those other categories that you listed because it can be kind of fun.
Cool. And to add more in, if you don't mind, I would also vary your porn. Like, think about the porn that you play. If you can get more than one TV going on and have one TV with older porn or leather porn or jock porn, and then have another one with just, very different people, like multi-race people, and like just break it up with when it comes to porn. And then the other thing, I am going to do a little shout out to my good friend Ray Dalton, who does a party called Fornication. Mm-hmm. And Fornication is a traveling party that is in San Francisco and Fort Lauderdale, Chicago, and New York. I'll send you the link if this makes it in the podcast. And he does very sex positive parties with porn stars that are there at the party to keep people kind of going. So that gives me the idea that in your rural area, if there's a couple people there that
OnlyFans models.
Yeah, OnlyFans models, but just people that everyone seems to connect with, right? And like that one guy,
like a master of ceremonies,
Bob, will be there. Because so what I think I'm saying is that if you notice over the next 5 parties, the 3 people that get the energy going and make everyone feel included, you can kind of always assure that they will be there so that people know they have some type of a comfort zone, much like these fornication parties that are really fun.
Really quickly,
did you just look it up on mine? Oh, yay!
You mentioned Vary the Porn Up, and there's a name that everybody could look up, Wakefield Pool, who did Boys in the Sand, shot in Fire Island, and it's like the first porn. New York Times did a whole thing back in when it debuted. It played on 57th Street Theater, and anyway, he has one second film that was like really sexy, and this guy had a huge. I would put that on there, so I went 70s at one point. Another time I went like a totally different route, very BDSM, and that was really just people were like really loving to see the visuals.
Yeah, because the energy that you have in your question about can I control it, like we've all said, is the answer is no.
Yeah.
But what you can control, much like the let them theory, let it happen because you can't control it. But what you can control is being very aware of what's working for people and what is not working for people.
Yeah.
And I would lean into what's working.
Yeah,
good.
I agree.
All right. Let's move on because I hope that helps. Let us know. There is a really cool guy I'm following that he is a gay psychotherapist. You can follow him at Spitulnik, Spitulnik. My good friend Sebastian Lacause, who's going to be guest hosting with us soon, brought me to his attention. And he recently did this story that I cannot wait to talk to you about. He asked the question, gays, are you objectifying each other? Basically, he's talking about Brian, the gay therapist, says, am I seeing this man? He basically said that he asked the question, am I seeing this man as a person or an object? Do you market yourself as a piece of merchandise? He asked gays. Are we objectifying each other? He goes on to say, chasing bodies but not feeling connected. We were robbed of gay men were robbed of intimate romantic love with other boys when we were adolescents. Most of us were hiding. We couldn't safely love who we wanted to love, so we lusted. Our desires had to be separated from our hearts, and by the time we actually came out, for many of us, not all of us, our sex is what we learned about ourselves. We mistake horniness for connection. We reduce people to stats and a label. And that really resonated with me. It was his reel the other day, and I quickly sent it to Sebastian, our friend of the show, because I was like, oh my gosh, he's speaking, many of us do that. We were robbed, I think, as adolescents of all we saw were heterosexual love, and that was the right way. Many of us had relationships. I had relationships in high school with a girl because I thought that was the only way, and I convinced myself that someday I will marry a woman. That's how psychotic this whole thing is. You mention often, Cody, that we are a very young adolescent as gay men coming to fruition. But when he asked the question, are we objectifying each other when it comes to the apps? And I've been guilty of that before, putting only body parts out there to attract somebody else and not really looking for connection. Do you agree with what he's saying?
Absolutely. I feel like this entire society objectifies people in general. So I don't think it's specific to the gays, but I do think that it is magnified with the gays, because I do think, like you said, we experience our adolescence a little bit later in life because, we have to be in the closet and we have to hide our true selves in order to fit into this current society. So I think that that only exacerbates the fact that we are objectifying each other all the time. And then add on Grindr and Instagram and all those things and all these perfect bodies on Instagram. And that's just intensifying this feeling that we are just bodily objects. Personally, I try and find a way to inject, because I market myself as an object all the time. And I realize this. I'm very self-aware about this. But
and we all do, just for fairness, in some way, shape, or form. I feel I do it every Wednesday when I promote our Tags Live. I put a shirtless promo out there, hoping that, that's going to lure. I mean, I get it. And it's just that maybe there needs to be a balance and realize what's going on.
I definitely think that I try and inject a little bit of my personality, a bit of positivity and motivation when I'm putting things out there on social media, and in my everyday life, I try and be a whole person all the time. What are you laughing at?
I just think
and there can be, and I want to hear from you in just a second, but there can be a little. Here's a good actual duality of both. You have a single out.
Yes.
I don't want to fight, where everybody can download, and I love how I'm plugging it.
Thank you,
and
girl.
I found it away. But hear me out. In it, if you just looked at the cover art, it is totally putting your that body, that sexuality up.
Object, girl.
However, when you press play, you hear lyrics that are very personal about your personal story and what you went through about a breakup, and it's deep. And so I do think he is onto something, and yes, many of us fall into that, but you can have both. Right? You can have okay.
I think you're both a little crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we never said we were.
Men have been objectifying women since the start of time.
I said that first.
This is not a gay man's thing.
I said that.
Yeah, but there's a whole Me Too movement about how women were objectified. The thing is,
we forgot about that.
Hello. This is nothing special. It's just two men objectifying each other. But women, especially after Sex in the City and all the women empowerment things there's a part of sexuality that if you don't objectify people, it doesn't even work. It's not one versus the other. I remember when...
Can I stop you? And can you remember your remember? Because yes, straight men have always objectified women. Pam Anderson comes to mind. Farrah Fawcett comes to mind. I could go on and on. However, we've had our parents, and many of us grew up to what he's saying, to see on TV, film, straight heterosexual rom-coms that say, I can meet my other half, my one and only. And for years and years, now we see more examples of that. We didn't have even that. So yes, well, I agree. All of that occurred. They have had a framework that has always said, you will find your one and only.
But those are two different conversations in my head, because it's not about TV or film or anything else.
But it's about examples.
No, it's about the construction worker that objectifies the woman on the street. It's about men overall objectifying women, and men objectifying each other as gay men from the 70s. I don't necessarily, there's reasons people have intimacy issues. I don't necessarily think they're connected directly to objectifying each other. Like something that happened during the pandemic, Peter and I are very close, and we've been very close since day one, basically.
Yeah.
We're very intimate. We're very honest with one another. We're not always the most sexual because we're always just really connected. And during the pandemic, like everyone, we're together. And my therapist said to me, what you need to do is go out and have another man look at Peter and objectify Peter in front of you. And it will wake you up of that's right. Like, we objectify each other in public. You see that you're flirting with my boyfriend, or you looked at his butt and like, hey, that's mine. And then all of a sudden that heat happens because people are objectifying your partner, not touching, not having sex, not doing anything. Just the natural state of sexual energy between human beings is objectifying each other. So, and I think the cavemen were objectifying each other. You know what I mean? That they were like, wow, did you see the rack on that one? Like, that doesn't mean you don't see the person for who they are. It's just part of the overall picture.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that gay men do that more than our heterosexual counterparts? I think that's kind of what you don't?
No, I think all those bros talking about women, and again, the entire Me Too movement is about how women are objectified and don't have the same power as men, because in the heterosexual world, the men have more power than women and they objectify them. Have you seen Mad Men?
Well, let's be real. We are all
Remember
messed
Mad
up.
Men?
I think
Like,
we're all
come on.
messed up. I don't think that heterosexuals got like the ticket to, because look at all the divorce.
But you know what they have that we don't? Women.
Right.
So I think that is kind of like
it's an interesting time. I mean, I do think that the apps and all that, I mean, at least with gay men, people go on the apps just looking for sex, and they are objectifying each other because they're mainly just looking for sex. I do think on the apps, women are looking for a relationship, and men, again, are just looking for sex. So they're objectifying women.
And thank
There's
you
no
for,
difference
and
there.
that's originally where I came when I saw the story. I saw this yesterday, and I had all day privy to you guys to kind of think about this. And I thought of what you just said, the apps, and I thought, wow, have I? And I said, of course I have in the past. I said, but I've also put myself in the position to be objectified, because in my early years, I put myself as a go-go dancer. And then later, I was an actor, which is objectifying myself in many other ways. And then later, when I moved here, I put myself on massage for men because I needed to make extra money. And I definitely objectified my body and put just the body parts on there because I wanted people to click on me, to hire me so I could make money. I always put myself out there, and I used it the way I could use it. I never, though, somehow, and I say this a lot on the show, got really into the apps. I just never was good at it. I'm technically sound in some ways, and I'm totally not in other ways. I've always been able to meet people in person, and it's how I met my fiancée. And so I think what this therapist is saying in many ways is about finding that connection that is somewhat of a lost culture, that when you reduce everything to a body part or putting just that or that next sex conquest or the next best thing, that are we potentially forgetting about that connection process?
Can I say one more thing? I can't even come if I don't feel a connection with somebody. It takes me, the first time that I have sex with somebody, it takes me a long time to come. It takes me so long. People are like, you have to stop fucking me. You're wearing me out. I can't do this anymore. So for me personally, I might objectify people and I might objectify myself. But when it comes to sex, I can't unless there's something there between the two of us.
Okay, yeah, it does.
Well, sometimes you have to focus on their object.
Yeah.
And then you'll just come.
I
think there's so many.
On an object and come.
Right?
I can't.
I also think that there's so many distractions out there these days that it's hard to say why. I mean, we're not ride the subway.
Yeah.
Everyone's in their phone.
Right.
Everyone's walking, trying to look in their phone. People are talking on their phone, shouting. No, people aren't connecting for many reasons. I don't think objectifying people is the number one on the list to me in 2025 of why people are not connecting. Well, in my opinion,
in his fairness, I think he brings up, this is kind of what he does, and I think he was just saying, are we guilty as a culture? And here's some reasons why.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
But just looking at our own, and some of what he said resonated with me, that
I get it. It's a good conversation. 100%.
Yeah, I think I like that.
It's a great conversation.
Yeah. Let us get into some hot topics, and we all know about artist Andry Hernandez Romero. Remember, he's the gay makeup artist that was basically here from Venezuela, sent to a detention center in El Salvador, and quoted, he called it an encounter with torture and death. He spent 125 days in silence, detained inside the El Salvador concrete fortress built to disappear people. Gay makeup artist Andry Hernandez Romero is finally home in Venezuela. We talked about this, Cody. It's not a great thing that he's home that's where he fled to get basically, what do you call it? When you
persecution?
When you flee from your country, you flee to, I feel like we're playing
Jeopardy?
You flee from Jeopardy?
No.
When you flee from your country, you essentially asylum. Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
Asylum. This is what he had to say. It was an encounter with torture and death. Hernandez, 32, told journalists at his family home in Capacha on Wednesday, describing how he and others were beaten, shot, and rubber projectiles had thrown at them in dark cells before they were suddenly freed on Friday. And many of our fellows have wounds from the nightsticks. They have fractured ribs, fractured fingers and toes, marks from handcuffs. He said others have marks on their chest, face, and it's just really bad. I mean, in some ways, it's good that he's home with his family, but he's back where he started from. I did mention he was seeking asylum to get away from Venezuela. He's kind of back where he started from, but at least not in El Salvador. I mean, when you hear this, it's a story that we just have to keep reporting on, of course, because they're detaining people left and right for the wrong reasons. What do you say to this, Lincoln?
It's horrible. Yeah. I mean, it's, not America.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what the majority of this country voted for if we believe that the election was fair.
Yeah.
which some people don't. All swing states to one person. Sounds a lot like find me 3,000 votes. I've said that over and over again. And it's going to be this way until we can turn it around.
Yeah.
It sucks. And what I think sucks the most of it, like so many things in life, is that we're powerless about it. Like I can go right now running onto 7th Avenue naked screaming that this is an injustice, and I'll either get hit by a city bike or a car or have 10 people join me.
Yeah.
That doesn't bring him back, you know? And the people in charge, I don't know what's in charge, you know. I do know people are fighting, though. I do want to say that the right people are fighting, and it will turn around because it has to, because it's just so horrible.
Yeah. I mean, the pendulum swing hopefully is real. Cody, I was just talking to somebody today about asylum and how they're not even looking at cases regarding that and how desperate it is. For him, he's back in his home country, Venezuela. It's not looking good. At least he's with his family.
Yeah. This is the one that's a drag queen, correct?
Makeup artist.
Yeah?
Makeup artist, yeah.
Because I know it's happening to so many people. I actually saw a video of a man getting drug out of court in order for him to stay here legally. He was like being dragged out of the courthouse by ICE agents, and it's like they're being so predatory about this. They're going to all the places that they know that these people are going to go in order for them to be here legally, and so like you said, they could seek asylum or for whatever reason. It doesn't even really matter why they're here. So many people have said that this is un-American. I think Lincoln just said it, because this country was formed and based on immigrants, and I think that's something that people need to start remembering. I'm going to stop there.
Yeah.
The problem is, and we can move on because it isn't the gayest, sexiest topic in the country, but the problem is the people who want that to happen are loving it. The people who voted, who have a problem. And some of them, maybe their houses have been broken into by people or their neighborhoods are overran by people that they feel, whether it's true or not, are not here legally. It's a lot. It's a mess. It's as messy as the internet. It's as messy as social media. It's as messy as the real news and the fake news and the lies and the twisted projections that are out there. It's just a mess.
Well, somebody that is standing up for our rights, that does have a little bit, not much, he's a Democrat, but has a little bit more leeway, is Representative Robert Garcia, demanding answers on the Trump and RFK Jr.'s gutting HIV programs. Many people living with HIV are getting sicker or going to get infected. There's studies that show that without proper medication, without preventative measures that are being taken away, that we're going to see rates of infection. It says, out gay representative, and at least he's on our team, wrote a letter to Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr. asking about the Trump administration's shameful and widespread elimination of HIV and AIDS-related research, vaccines, and life-saving programs, questioning whether their elimination is rooted in science or in misinformation and disinformation previously spread by Kennedy. And he really, this is worth putting up on tagspodcast.com, or better yet, go to our Patreon page where up-to-the-minute updates, patreon.com/tagspodcast. Get a free account, or a free tier. But really, this is something that does affect our community. And I know you've mentioned before, Lincoln, condoms are always an option. We've talked about it recently, too, where you can. But sadly, often it's black and brown communities that get the information last. They've always been towards the last of the line. I don't think it's very short-sighted if we get rid of some of these programs that we are going to see an uptick. What does that really mean? It could actually mean that hospitals are going to... The country's going to be spending more money if we go back to a time to the 80s. And I know you know a lot about that. I do as well, seeing what that did to our community. Getting rid of these things, when you see at least somebody, I know we mentioned in the last story, what can we do? Can we go on 7th Avenue? At least gay Representative Robert Garcia is doing something.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people doing something. I want to clarify, though, what you just said about me saying condoms, because condoms is always an option, but there are a lot of people who are positive that the research to keep them alive
Yeah.
is not moving forward, and a condom is not going to help that.
They're not.
I do think that there is also money that's not being given to Africa, and I know for a fact to other countries
Yeah.
with bigger diseases. Not that there's bigger diseases than AIDS, HIV, but other diseases like malaria and measles that are going to come to our shores because of this lack of funding. So it's kind of the worst storm, the perfect storm, if it does in fact happen. But I can't sit in misery and the worst case scenario.
No.
That's not going to make anyone's blood pressure go down.
Thank you for saying
And it's
that.
also not going to solve anything if all we do is go, and then this can happen, and then this can happen, because we're all scared enough, I think.
Yeah.
And I can't get more scared into doing things that aren't going to matter. I donate money to people who I think are doing the right things. I'm trying to be impeccable with my word. I try and be respectful to everyone that's in front of me, because I don't meet a lot of people in Africa that might get infected with AIDS and have it come to our shores. You know what I mean? So I'm being nice and being respectful to people who are not being respectful to me in my city or in walking down the street or whatever that looks like. So I don't know. I think we got to meditate and breathe and self-care and hunker down with our circle and learn more and learn what is happening and what is the truth, and try not to get a little too over the fear and what could happen, because that's kind of them getting their way.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's a part of it.
I definitely hear what you're saying, and I agree with you in many ways. In the last story, I think there's not a lot we can do right now. We can hope for the best and keep up with the story regarding El Salvador and Hernandez being taken back to Venezuela.
100%.
In this one, this is in our country. It does affect our sexuality. I'll read you a couple of stats that could affect us. Cuts to federal HIV prevention funding could lead to more than 143,000 additional HIV cases in the U.S., so we're talking about us, within the next 5 years, and 127,000 additional deaths from HIV and AIDS-related causes. They say, we are concerned that your motivations for disrupting HIV, and this is according to Representative Garcia, funding and delaying preventative services and research are grounded not in sound science. Well, it doesn't take much to know that Kennedy is not about science,
idiot?
And it's a joke. It's a joke too. When not to get too political, because we could go on and on about who he's put in these office, the Orange Man, the Cheeto, who he's put in these office, but he's put somebody that is a vaccination denier, and we could go on and on about Kennedy, but this is affecting us here in the U.S.
Yes. So it's just ridiculous. And anybody who doesn't believe in science is just, I don't know how you even talk to somebody like that, or how you try and reason with them. I'm glad that this representative is standing up and actually saying something, because for me, I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets better. Also, the more I think about it, the more this feels like a pointed attack at our community, because when they think of us, this is what they think of. And they're not even realizing that this is going to affect more communities and their communities, because it affects everybody by cutting the funding to these types of research.
But that is their strategy.
Child.
That is the point. The point is, you make a story as horrible as possible about the guy in Venezuela so people don't migrate here from Venezuela. You do something like this for HIV/AIDS,
within
so
our
gay
own country,
people are afraid to come out. It's all part of the strategy. Have you read Project 2025?
Yeah.
who, by the way, is
Just
going to be
read
running
the-
against
yeah.
Lindsey Graham, apparently, for Senate to take over
The
his
guy
role.
who wrote it?
Yeah. And so, yeah.
And I'm going to just gently say this. We've been at places like this before.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
There has been a shift in our country and really the world about how we feel about transgender. And I mentioned during Pride, and you were with me, Cody, Diego, we got flags for the transgender, and because we felt they really need us right now. Well, recently, there's a whole shift. I'll read you some stats. We'll talk about it in a second. But 71% of gay men in the UK are, That's not the story. A majority of Americans think gender transition is morally wrong, and I'll read you some more poll suggestions. But Rahm Emanuel, and from Chicago, he worked under Obama. He was a representative, and now is on the Democratic side, potentially going to run in the next election for president. Wow. That's what they're talking about. He was on Megyn Kelly recently, and when asked point blank, can a man become a woman? He thought about it and he says, no, a man cannot become a woman. And that has resonated, maybe not good for him at all, but these stats that I'm sharing with you that show a really change in what we think about transgender. Now, I will argue, I'll read a couple of them, and then in a survey from a Gallop poll, so it's a U.S. Gallop poll, residents were asked to give their opinion on moral acceptability of 20 different behaviors, and it found that just 40% of respondents believed transitioning is morally acceptable, while 54% believed it is morally wrong, and 5% have no opinion. 47% agreed medical testing on animals is morally acceptable, and 56% gave the same answer in regards to the death penalty. So where are we at, Cody? I say this because I feel that there is this shift to really look at transgender as moral now. We're asking point-blank questions. Can a man become a woman? All of my transgender friends that I've talked to over the years have always told me, we're a male. We're trans woman.
Yeah.
Are they a woman? Do they feel like a woman? Yes.
Break down what you mean. What do you mean when you say it that way?
All my trans brothers and sisters have always said they are not trying to pass, but they have always felt that they were the other gender.
So
for
when
so many years. They transitioned. I'm almost done. So they transitioned, and they feel like, say one of my friends feels like a man right now, as a former woman. Recently told us a whole story about, when I was a woman, I dated men, and they were just telling us a story the other day. But they often tell us they're a trans man.
Yes.
My trans sisters have said the same thing. They feel like a woman. They've always felt like a woman. They're a trans woman. That's what they are. I don't know what the world has against this 1% of the community. While we're talking about morality, while we're asking politicians, Cody, what do you say?
So just to clarify, you're saying that trans women are not saying that they're cisgender women.
I'm saying the trans women and the trans men that I have asked have said they have always felt like the other gender, but that when asked, and I'm talking about plenty of people, and I've asked on this show, I've asked friends, they're like, no, I'm a trans woman or I'm a trans man.
And they're not claiming to be cisgender women.
When we put it in
men.
Correct.
Yes, awesome.
And when we put it in terms like this, like Megyn Kelly did, and say, are they really, can a man become a woman? And notice she chose that particular, not the other way around, because I think she's threatened by this. And when we poll people, we're talking about morality.
Yeah, so I think that for Rahm Emanuel to be, I feel like it's disingenuous a little bit. I think he's also going to run into trouble from that because it's like a loophole, right? So they're not trying to claim that they're cisgender, but when asked, can a man turn into a woman? I don't know. That's like confusing to me because, like you said, they're not necessarily trying to turn into a woman. They've always been
Can a man change to a woman?
Yeah. So I feel like they've always been transgender women or transgender men the whole time. So they're not changing anything, basically. All they're doing is changing their outside. So it's like a play on words that they're not necessarily getting. And this poll, I don't know who they polled. They polled like Mormons in fucking Utah, or wherever they're from. Sorry, all our Mormon listeners.
They're Americans. Everybody calm down.
I don't know, but like if you look at the other things on the poll, it's like it's marriage.
Look at some of the other things. They talked about birth control, divorce, how we feel about that. Those were higher in the morality scale Morally acceptable is green. If you can look at this chart I'm showing you guys here.
Having a baby
Dark green is
outside of
morally
marriage.
acceptable. Morally wrong is
Does
orange.
it say how many
gray.
people were polled
We could get to that in a minute.
and
but
where they were living? Because this, to me,
it's a Gallop poll, you guys.
that's
so
fine. It could be all the Gallop it wants to be. My point is, this is
Gallop
for
away.
ratings and clicks, people.
Yeah.
Ratings and clicks.
I
And
guess
we have clicked on
yeah,
it. And hang on, let me finish. We have clicked on it,
Yeah.
and we're making it into a story. But it's really, this is the abortion story of 2025.
There
That
it is.
people are speaking for the unborn child. And there are a lot more unborn children in the world than there are trans people. That's why this is a hot topic. 1% of our population is trans. You put it in a title, you put it in a poll, all of a sudden people are watching your show. And it's unfair to the trans people. It's not, these people don't care. These people, if they were listening to this in my opinion, if they were listening to this podcast right now, they would have gotten so confused about what you both just said about cis, trans, male. This is not on their agenda. This is not the way
They just
want to
live their lives.
They just, well, so do these people,
Yeah.
and they don't want to feel like this is being shoved down their throat as acceptable. And then you put in stories like 8-year-old kids are getting going into surgery to become, and no,
Yeah.
whether that's
No,
true
I
or
hear
not, it doesn't matter. It's that fuels this fire of untruths and ignorance. And our trans brothers and sisters are suffering because of it. That's what's so sad.
It's just, I hear what you're saying, and it is in the zeitgeist right now where trans is a hot topic, of course, but it was a Gallup poll that looked at morality issues on where people, and they asked all of these questions, and one of them was trans. Things like birth control got a lot more morality, and it's just interesting, too, because a lot of these were probably Christians, and that is typically not acceptable within most people's, and yet transgender is much more immoral.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's because for the people that were polled, I feel like this is something they could wrap their heads around. I feel like if they were exposed to more trans people or they learn more about it, then they might find that their opinions are different. So
Yeah.
I agree with both of you. I think that this is something that is like, let's poll some trans people or some people that know
Right.
trans people, and I think you'll get a very different story.
All right, moving on to the opposite, one of our favorites, Tom of Finland, and I have his book up all the time on my credenza, The Legacy of Tom Finland. The Tom of Finland Foundation has stood proudly, and they have a brand new exhibit in LA that I would love to go see. It's basically called, how would you pronounce this? FX Fuck play? This? FXLK.
I can't pronounce anything. so-
It's in time when creative expression and queer visibility are increasing under the foundation. The foundation is not backing down. Instead, it's stepping boldly forward with a brand new exhibition entitled...
Well, I think it's called fuck play, but they put
Yeah.
XL in the middle of fuck,
Which
so
is
it's
strange.
like extra large.
Oh, there we go.
Fuck play.
Fuck play.
Myth-making, devotion, and mischief.
Extra
Is
large
this at the
fuck play.
house?
No, it's actually in West Hollywood. It'll be free, so we love that. Opening September 12th at Long Hall in West Hollywood's Plummer Park. The exhibit promised to be a joyful, defiant, and deeply moving celebration of queer art in the enduring spirit of Tom's legacy. And founded by Dirk Diener and Tom himself. And I wanted to talk about this in many ways because it's really going to pull in other artists that took inspiration from Tom of Finland, and it's gonna not just going to be his work, it's going to be all kinds of art, but they have been under controversy over
trying to rack my brain.
as Dirk has recently been left the whole operation because he had Nazi symbolism.
Yep. I was like,
And-
what is going on
Yeah,
there?
and he was a
I was
judge
trying to
at
remember.
IML, International Mr. Leather. And so they actually removed him. There's a new CEO. And so they come under controversy. And I decided to do a little bit more research because I thought, wow, I am such a Tom of Finland fan. The movie, which I highly recommend, Tom of Finland, it's so good. He really was he was from Finland. He moved to Helsinki. He worked in advertising, and he was fought in World War II. And I was like, how did that all work out? Well, he fought alongside the German, which would have been the Nazi side, but that's just the way it fell. I mean, America happened to fall with UK, Germany at that particular time, I learned in my research, owned France. France was on the other side, even though they owned them, and we were fighting along each other. It was just like a complicated war. But when it comes to Nazi and the sign, I looked up Toku is his real name, Tom of Finland's name, and he said he was never political. It was simply about looking at the uniform and all uniforms,
100%.
but that specifically he was not about any political thing, and he was never for Nazism at all. So it's really interesting that Dirk, the former CEO guy, actually was recently wearing those. Toku was never about that at all. And so I just wanted to clear all that up, but to say that this is really something that can embrace our sexuality, an exhibit that's free in LA and is embracing newer artists that is also embracing that sexuality. What do you say to this?
So much. This exhibit sounds great. I would love to see it. There is a Tom of Finland home in LA, which I've been to twice. The Tom of Finland home does artists' residencies in the home and kind of cultivates young artists in the Tom of Finland eye. And something that's really great is if you go there.
So can I just stop you really quickly? They do an artists in residency program that have encouraged other artists. So
Correct. That's right. That's exactly what I just said. And up in the loft, like in the very top, they have the photos of the original Tom of Finland models, and they are not muscular.
Really?
Yeah. It's what he did to them.
It's
his tweak. Yeah.
If you watch this movie,
it's great.
The movie, did you ever watch the movie?
Of course.
It's so good. We could do a movie
premiere.
night. When I had Progressive Post Productions, we covered it and interviewed one of the filmmakers, and I
really
just
cool.
love it. So we should watch it. It's that good. I mean, I have a picture here that's numbered. That's not an original, but it's numbered, and I just feel like
in this day and age, it would be a shame if it would be a shame if anything of the Tom of Finland legacy got
marred,
canceled, marked, whatever, because of any use of the Nazi symbol or any of that, as I do understand that it was about all uniforms in that day. And much like this Instagram post that I just saw this week, and I think you can look it up, New York City, Soviet Union, there's this artist rendition if New York City was designed by the Soviet Union.
Okay.
And there's no Nazi symbols in it. And I think the Nazi symbol is implorable, but you should also know where the Nazi symbol came from. Yeah. That it was the Jewish star broken and crossed over. As an artist, it's like Christ on the crucifix. It's like, what? Someone used artistically, visually, that and broke it and made it into that for something so heinous and deplorable. Again, erasing history does not help educate people on what happened. It just doesn't. It never will. It never could. We have to educate, not use it, keep it in its place. It's like using the N-word or anything else in the world. You need to know what you're dealing with. We need to fucking grow up and know that we're adults now in the room having an adult conversation about a symbol or a word and what that means. And I want to learn more because this is not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'm an Italian, American, English, German, white boy from Walnut Creek, California. I don't know anything about the fucking Nazi symbol, but if you erase it all, I'm not going to ever learn. And
you're right.
I have learned.
And you're right for bringing that. And we only bring it up because that could go down that rabbit hole. And we talked about it recently in our book club, which you can get our book selection by going to patreon.com/tags podcast. And one of the books that I recommend is called Faggots, and it has some spicy language, or that's a really awful word that I use right now, but it uses racist language at times in there. And it was much to what you're talking about, where I watch a network called TCM, the Classic Movie Channel, and they often will say many of the movies that we are going to present on this network will have offensive language. But do we not show the movie? No, we put that disclaimer out there so you know that, but that ultimately at that time, and I use the framework that even Sex and the City, the reason they almost did, and just like that, was because some of the things that they talked about even in the 90s are not correct to say today, but that's okay. It can live as a historical piece, and you can just wrap your mind around that. Same with this, too. It's free. It's in West Hollywood. It starts September 12th at the Long Hall in West Hollywood.
I wanna say
Fuck
something.
play, myth-making, devotion, and mischief. And I really want to go. What were you going to say?
So
No, I just wanted to remind
Oh
everybody.
no! I was like, I thought we were wrapping up. I was
No.
like, oh no, girl.
Yeah, I just want to remind people. Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. So, first, I want to start off by saying I agree with you. We should not be erasing history, but I think there should be a distinction that's made between exalting things and making things a teachable moment. I don't want anything, especially like a Nazi symbol, to be made to look like it's glorified. So that goes across the board for anything that has hurt people or humanity in all of our years of living here on this earth. Secondly, he thought that would be my point would be better to dance music, but okay.
Sorry about that.
So is Dirk, that guy that had is he part of this exhibit?
No, he's erased from it.
All right,
now.
let's
He
go
stepped
then,
down.
because if he was a part of this, and I wouldn't be able to support it.
Yeah,
so I'm
they
glad
quickly jumped to and got rid of him. He stepped
Awesome.
down.
Cool. So let's go. I think it's great. You know, I love Tom of Finland. Like you guys were saying before, I think that when, you have to look at the times, just like TCM is doing. They're saying that this was of a certain age and a certain time. Whatever he did back then, I can't fault him for. He was like, otherwise we would probably have been dead, and we would have never gotten to see his beautiful imagery and his artwork. So I think that it's fine to take that into consideration when we're looking at pieces of work, pieces of art, and things that people have put out there in the world. So yeah.
Great point.
Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. We really covered a lot of ground.
Good
You
Lord.
can always follow my co-host. You can follow Lincoln at his Protein Bakery on 19th Street between 6th and 7th, closer to 7th. Go drop in there. Get some tasty treats.
Or order online.
online.
We ship to everyone's front door.
Follow him at Protein Bakery, on Instagram. Follow him on the gram, though, at Mad Lincoln. I love that you and Peter did a little lovely post.
Oh, yeah, those from 718
really
Sessions this weekend. And I'm trying to do more live posts on the bakery.
I really like those.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Follow Cody. He's got a brand new single called I Don't Want to Fight. Get it wherever you get your music, but follow him on the gram or Blue Sky at Mr. Maurice, We are live this Wednesday for Tags Live at 6 p.m. Pacific or 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and we really want more of you to join us. All you got to do is go to tagspodcast.com and click on Tags Live to join us on our Crowdcast platform. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. And more importantly, go to our Patreon Tags community where you get backstage, uninhibited content. Go to patreon.com/Tags Podcast and you get our book club selections. And you have one more thing to say.
And most importantly, keep having
Hot
gay
sex.